All right.
Welcome to another live trading session. Today is Thursday, June 18th. This is Saved by FX here, Nick Dark FX,
How's it going, guys?
and we are about to get into it. Nick's going to start as always with DXY, get into why we're looking at that. And if you guys have any questions during the session, feel free to just write in the chat. Don't be scared.
Yeah, drop any questions you have and we can answer them along the way. No problem. All right. So first thing you want to look at DXY, which is the dollar index, right? It's the reserve currency of the world. Typically, you want to see this being pretty stable because a lot of the market kind of follows suit with that. So off the bat, we want to go ahead and identify sentiment. We do this every single live trading session, every single Sunday. We'll kind of go over this and just see, is this still in a bullish channel here? You can see this has been in a bullish channel for, let me move this for a second. Get rid of that. All right, it's been in a bullish channel since, June 2018. So basically 2 years. And we're finally seeing it kind of fall out of that channel now. So let's drop to the 4-hour. All right, so again, I cover this every single time. This is Corona news. This whole spike over here is all inflated speculation. It's just bullshit. And then right after this news happened, you just saw DXY kind of go sideways. So it was trying to find, some stability, trying to resume normalcy to some degree. And then we did see that. So like as this was consolidating, the rest of the market was kind of doing the same. It was giving the market a breather, giving it a chance to form structure throughout. So this was pretty nice to see. It was actually really easy to trade this. A lot of pairs were just ranging, and we were just playing ranging patterns. So that was really nice. But we saw this range between 101 and 98.5, and then the market started to price itself in from all these different news reports and stuff. So the market priced in all these negative factors, and then realized the dollar was actually overvalued, so it pushed down, right, in this huge bearish channel, where we are now, down towards this monthly, where we're finding more consolidation. So it looks like it's a bit of an inverse head and shoulders, actually. Like this would be the left shoulder, this would be the head, this would be the right shoulder, and it's on like a slanted neckline. Let me just show you for the sake of patterns. This is what it would basically look like, something like that. Pretty steep, not ideal, but essentially this is an inverse head and shoulders, and it's looking like it's going bullish now. We did get a really nice rejection off this monthly. This is the preferred trade path. This this blue arrow. So we want to see it get up to this zone here, right around 98.5, which is a huge confluence area, as the 200 EMA is there, the 61.8% fib level is there, which would be really nice for a retracement. Right, if this did pull back, this would be a retracement of this bearish leg here. So this is very, very likely. I did go ahead and highlight the bearish example. What we would need to see to then begin looking at short opportunities. It would need to break this monthly, come back for a retest, kind of confirm this lower high, whether it be through exhaustion, just bearish setups in general, bearish variations, engulfing, so on, evening stars. That's what we want to see, a confirmed lower high right as we break this monthly and retest it. But for right now, obviously you can see more consolidation is happening, and this is definitely the likely trade path for the short term, for the next week or so. It's just a retracement back up to the 61.8. So we'll see. We will see. So this has been DXY, again, short-term bullish in an overall, so like this would be a 1-hour bullish trend in here, 4-hour bearish trend, and then we have a daily bullish trend. Okay, so daily bullish. So let's go ahead and move over to the next pair, which is going to be AU. We want to establish sentiment on the daily. Let's go ahead and jump up. Super bearish, nothing's really changed. The point we're at now is pretty much matching this lower high right at the monthly. So like watch, this is primarily bearish on this daily time frame. Very steep bearish channel. Right, we're getting lower high, lower high, lower high right here. And then this was news, Corona affected it. And then price action came back, and now we're testing that lower high, this lower high right here. So right at the monthly again, big influence area. So we went ahead and dropped down time frames and started reading price action, seeing what this market was telling us. What's this story going on here? So price action comes up on this huge 4-hour bullish trend, right? Pretty much straight up. Hits this level, starts consolidating, gives us a pennant right here, makes another push to the upside, and then gives us a double top right in our monthly zone, which is a huge reversal signal. especially after this huge exhaustion. So this was actually news right here. This final push to the upside, and then quick rejection. That was news, confirming this double top. Great to see. And then price action just kind of fell out, broke this supporting trend line, came back, tested this broken support as well, and then tested the trend line again, and then gave us plenty bearish variations. So this is actually a really interesting trade right now, because it just printed a bearish engulfing. So I'm going to drop to the 1 hour for you guys as kind of a bonus. Normally we stay on the 4 hour and daily, but I want to show you guys what's happening on the 1 hour here. So as we got this retest, right, price action came up for this retest. Now we're getting these bearish variations, huge pullback. I mean, a huge push through the MAs, bearish variations, a little bit of a flag, and then we're kind of falling out of this flag right now. I pushed lower, came back and tested again, structure level 0.69, and then gave us 2 more bearish variations. There's another engulfing in there, and then another huge bearish candle. So this is looking like could be a short opportunity very soon. I'm going to show you what this would look like. Just again, as a bonus, this is a lower time frame. We normally don't cover that in this session. So I want to show you what we're looking at now. It would essentially be this, 50 pips. I want to see a little retest of this zone, confirm lower high again, huge bearish setups, and we're targeting lower. Targeting down towards this 0.675 handle and lower. Right around here, 50 pips to get about 125. Really great potential trade, much like AJ, which I'm going to get to in a second. So let's jump up time frames. Does this make sense to us? This 4 hour, it absolutely does. We could see this 4 hour transition happening, right? Break of support, tested resistance, double top. Obviously, this is a lower high. Trying to confirm this lower high right here as well before the drop. Okay,
Looking good.
Looking good, right? Just waiting on confirmations at this point. Looking very good. Much like AJ, like I just said, which we're getting to right now. And I'll show you in a second. Again, first thing we do, go to the daily time frame, see where we're at. Bearish as hell, right? Very bearish. Just like AU, we're simply matching a prior lower high. So this was a lower high, right? In this overall trend, this bearish trend. So this was a lower high. This is a lower high. Price action dropped here. Corona news just pretty much freaking tanked down to the monthly. Came back on a strong 4 hour bullish trend, and now we're currently matching our prior lower high, right here at this monthly. So big confluence area. So once we got to the monthly again, I decided to drop time frames, see if we could spot some sort of transition or reversal, and we did. This was one of our best trades from last week. This was a clear head and shoulders pattern, left shoulder, head, right shoulder, and we entered on the right shoulder pretty much perfectly, and played it down to this trend line. Very great trade. Worked out, and we were looking to enter again. So we saw this like asymmetrical triangle pattern forming over here. Again, very bearish on this time frame, assuming lower high here, huge bearish engulfings. Not much of a pullback from the bulls. And then we're just getting, again, these lower time frame lower highs. So this is like kind of falling out of the pattern here. It broke lower, which we entered on, came back, retested structure, and now printed another bearish engulfing. Again, I'll drop to the 1 hour for you guys. Let me just show you what we're looking at here. So this is that triangle pattern I just talked about. We entered on this break. We entered right here. Excuse me. Oh no, we entered on this candle here. So this wick to the upside, wick to the high, testing structure right at this level, 73.8. We entered on right as soon as this closed. We entered on it. Took a short. Came all the way down here, about 60 some odd pips, 65 pips. Really great profit, but then it turned around on us. So we saw this exhaustion happen. That obviously doesn't give you much confidence in the trade when you see a huge wick like that. So it did come back. You were presented with the option to take profits in this level, or just kind of ride it out, either move your stop loss to entry or stick to the original trade. I chose to move my stops to entry because, again, it was later in the day. I didn't want to look at the chart as much. If it stopped me out overnight, so be it, whatever. There's always another trade. That's just my mentality going into it. But again, if you did hold the trade and stick to the original, you would have seen that price action came back and tested this area again, 73.8, and then presented good rejection. Like this was just an MA pullback. Essentially, this was just trying to form a lower time frame structure here. If we're just going to read price action, let's go ahead and check it out. Right, came right back to the 78.6, was forming good structure. Found rejection at this little structure level again, 73.8. and then started pushing lower. Back to the MAs, plenty of confirmations for another entry here. Another entry probably could have been right here, actually. Right on this engulfing. You would have had a nice stop for 50 pips, and then you would have targeted probably a 2-0, roughly about 100 pips or so. So this was a decent trade. It's a shame it pulled back, but it is what it is sometimes. The likelihood of this continuing down right now is pretty high. I think this is just going to melt down to 72.5, and it does support that on the 4-hour. If we just take a look, like there's obviously a lot of bearish momentum here. That is a huge Mary Bozu bearish engulfing candle. So what that means is there's no wick on either side, which really shows conviction. This means that the bears have really stepped in, and there's pretty much no fight from the bulls. Okay, so this is looking like it's going to drop definitely down to 72.5 at least. All right, so then once we get to 72.5, we want to look for another entry opportunity. So essentially, I'm looking for a break back into this channel. So I want to see a break, get below the 200 EMA, get some lower highs, and then we're targeting down towards the weekly. Okay, so that'll be the next stage of this analysis once we get to it, once we see this play out. But for now, yeah, this is pretty much an active trade. All right, no real clean, super clean entries unless it comes back for a retest and another short opportunity entry. So like if it came back like this, take a look here. Whoops. Right, like if it came back up, something like this. If it gave us something like that, then you could probably re-enter. Just looking for rejection off that same level right here. But again, the longer it hangs around an area, so like at this point, if it does pull back, this could be considered like consolidation, which could be, weakening of the trend potentially. So just be aware of, price action and how it's reacting. If it's too tight of consolidation, if volume dies off, then, the trade's kind of busted. And you don't want to get into anything that's going to be too risky or, uncertain. You want to see that this has clear conviction, good bearish momentum that's going to push this to the downside. All right, so that's AJ. Let's keep going. I got EU for you guys, and then EJ, which is really upsetting. I'll show you why in a minute. All right, let's go to the daily. First thing we do, we're checking for sentiment. All right. Clearly, this is bearish. I mean, you guys can see this off the bat here. This is like pretty nuts. Super steep channel. Nothing's really changed. We've already identified that. Multiple sessions before this. This is Corona. Again, total bullshit. Not real market structure whatsoever. But after we saw Corona happen, after this huge ripsaw of Corona, we saw this consolidation happen, which is what we covered in the beginning. That happened with DXY. It was very consistent with DXY. It was pretty much ranging exactly. And it gave you quite a few trade opportunities in this area. I mean, we put out a few. I know that for sure. But then, it forms good structure. We get a nice higher low, moving average cross. And then this 4-hour bullish trend presents itself. Very, very steep. Now, we were expecting it to push a little bit higher, but momentum kind of gave out around 1.14. I was expecting at least 1.15 near our monthly zone. Never hit it. But now we have something interesting. We have a good opportunity right now because for those of you who know patterns, what pattern does this look like? I know we covered it early this week, but this is looking like a head and shoulders pattern. Left shoulder, head, right shoulder, right? Looking pretty clean. And now we're looking like we're getting a break. So this is looking like it could be a pretty big trade. We do have good conviction. We have these nice little like lower highs kind of looking like steps. You see this is a lower high. This is a lower high down here. This is a lower time frame lower high. So this is looking pretty good. Definitely what we want to see coming out of EU right now. So let's say if USD keeps pushing up and nothing really happens with EU, with the euro, we could definitely see this drop. So euro, let's say the dollar pushes up, we'll see this pair start to drop. We want to see significant closure below this zone, pull back, confirm this lower high, and give us strong bearish setups to enter on. This is pretty much textbook, guys. This is going to be, risking 80 pips roughly to get 190. We're targeting down towards this weekly, towards the 78.6 fib level, higher time frame fib level. This one's looking pretty good, pretty damn clean. I'm not going to drop to the 1 hour. I'm going to drop to the daily, see if this makes sense. Doesn't make sense. If we get to this MAs and get that lower high on the 4 hour, it absolutely makes sense. It's looking freaking clean as hell. I like this trade. Probably going to be more of a trade for next week. I mean, maybe late day today if we do see some volume step in. But I mean, this could go sideways for like another day until market close tomorrow. I mean, we'll see. We'll see. Again, we're always going to be watching, always going to be posting analyses, keeping you guys updated. So this is EU. I'm going to cover EJ and gold for you guys. Oh, this trade killed me. This trade, I was so pissed on this trade. But like, it happens, guys. Sometimes you miss opportunities and you can't really sweat it. There's always got to be another one. All right, so let's jump up to the daily time frame and identify sentiment on EJ. Super bearish, right? Much like EU, except this is a high volume channel. And what I mean by that is look how far apart these trend lines are, because there's so much volume in this. You know, the spread, look at 1,300 pips from this high to this low. I mean, granted, this is a wick, but like even from this one, this high, this low, 1,000 pips. So like this is a high volume bearish channel. So let's go ahead and zoom in on current price action, see where we're at. All right, so we got this strong 4-hour bullish trend kind of breaking through multiple levels, multiple lower highs on all kinds of time frames, and it actually broke out of this giant channel. So like this bearish daily channel, price action broke out of it. Right here, see how it broke out, right? Came back up to this huge level around 123.5 and then rejected. So let's drop to the 4-hour, see where we're at. This is still technically bearish in a higher time frame. So the sentiment is still very much bearish, okay? All right, so this was a great freaking trade opportunity that we missed, that I missed rather. Pretty upsetting. All right, so this was, you know, price action was forming a bit of what looked like a flag, just kind of an ascending channel here after a huge bearish push. So, you know, we got some lower time frame, lower highs, but then this huge wick happened. So like this was a good entry on a 1 hour. All right, so it's kind of just flatlining. There's a little bit of a box pattern here, just like this. Right, and I was going to enter on this exhaustion just because it pulled back through the MAs. It's still held within the box after this candle closed with this exhaustion. That said to me like, hey, the sellers are very much in control here, and it's clearly having a tough time breaking out of this box. And also an MA cross from our strategy means that there's good structure forming in here, and that this could potentially be, you know, the breather the market needed before this final push, and that's exactly what happened. You know, it took its breather, its final bit of exhaustion, and then it just dumped. So I actually considered entering on that, and then, you know, we had this trade marked up for hitting this near this weekly zone again, near this 200 EMA before it dropped, and then it did drop. Went 125 pips in profit. This would have been a really great trade, risking 60 pips to get, you know, 120 roughly, 2-hour risk reward. Take that 10 out of 10 times. So earlier in the week, I said this would have been part 1 to a trade, and that means that this was, you know, obviously we're playing the range here, which had played out perfectly. But part 1, meaning, you know, we wanted to reach this pocket here, this confluence area right around 119.85. Because then once price action gets here, we're going to reanalyze and see if this momentum is going to push price action out of this 4-hour trend, give us a transition to the downside once again. So that's part 1, right? So this is part 2 here. We're waiting for a break of this handle, 119 to 61.8. We want to break this, come back, retest as a lower high, and then we can enter on some bearish setups. So like this is basically what we want to see happen. Right, retest right here. If this thing would work properly. All right, there we go. Retest that zone, give us some huge setups, and then target lower. So this is going to be risking about 100 pips to get 300 plus, so well over 3 hours reward. This is part 2 of this trade. Huge opportunity, huge potential for this to play out. And this is definitely going to be something that I'll be posting in the analysis and making you guys aware of. All right, so anyone who did catch this trade, this part 1, good for you. I mean, it was put out in the analyses, so pretty textbook. There were definitely some confirmations in it. All right, so that's EJ. Let me go ahead and move on to gold, which faked me out this morning pretty heavily. No problem. Let's go to the daily for a second. Sentiment, what is it, guys? Super bullish, right? Super bullish. The most important level for current price action right now is this monthly, acting as resistance over here. Finally broke. Now it's been testing as very strong support. Let's drop time frames. All right, we can, oh, excuse me, 1 second. All right, we can see that this is clearly, consolidating in this entire area. If we zoom out, this is, it's just bouncing and bouncing. The highest we saw price action reach was 1765. But more or less, it's just consolidating in this area, right in between these two levels up here as well. This is looking good in the sense that we saw it break this little descending channel here. Definitely what we want to see, finding plenty of support at the 200 EMA, finding rejection off these fib levels, the 50%, the 38.2, looking pretty good. But right now, again, it's back in the consolidating phase. We're more or less forming like some patterns here too in the 4 hour. Right? Like this is like a triangle pattern. It's looking like there's that one. Here's this one. Yeah, so it's looking like another, again, a triangle pattern. We need to see this break. There's also a box pattern on the 1 hour. I'll show you in a second here. Again, I'm dropping to the 1 hour. Don't normally do it, but I mean, we're close enough to, some entries that I want to show you this. So like this is like a box pattern is what I was talking about. Because I wanted to see this area significantly break. This is a fake out down here. This is just a retest of 1720 structure. So like it's more or less a range. That's what this box pattern is highlighting. It's like this range all in here. We want to see significant closure and followed by a retest. So like this was a fake out, huge surge to the upside. It got to 1735 area, but it came right back, right? So like if this huge engulfing happened, this bullish engulfing, we want to see a retest, confirm a higher low, followed by another setup, and then we can enter on that. You're not going to enter on this breakout right here because look, you would have got bit by a couple hundred pips even, or like 100, 200 pips if you bought here on the breakout and it pulled all the way back to 1718. Yeah, you would have got screwed. Definitely would have been in a huge drawdown. So you want to wait for those confirmations, something that like higher low, lower high, whichever way it breaks, you want to look like this. Basically wanted to do this. So I'm still long on this. My bias is long as hell because I'm going to 1800. One way or another, we're getting there. We'll be ready for it. So like this is what we want to see. Huge break, significant break, closure, pullback, retest, confirmed higher low, bullish engulfing, morning star, exhaustion. You want to see something like this. Okay? And then you can enter in this area over here. And then it's also a break of this pattern. We're above the MAs at that point. We're above structure here, right at 1730. That's what we want to see, guys. And then we're targeting much, much higher, all the way towards, again, the 1800 handle. Right over here. Okay? That's where we're going, 1800 plus. All right, so that's gold. Kind of just consolidated like a crazy man right now. So I want to see this pattern break, enter on proper confirmations. All right, quick recap, guys. I covered DXY, which is surging right now, it looks like. Good news. AU, which is dumping probably. Right now, yep, kind of falling out. Waiting for a retest on that one. AJ, falling out. No real entry unless we see a retest. EU, still waiting on some confirmations. Want to see more significant closure, followed by a pullback. EJ, got to see this level break. This is more of a late. This is like a next week kind of trade. Want to see a clear break, pullback, then we enter, and then we covered gold, which is, again, waiting for a break to the upside, looking for that higher low confirmation. All right, guys, so that's what I covered for you. I'm going to pass this off to Angelo, and he'll get into some of the majors. All right. You're also in EU, okay. You there, Angelo?
Yeah, I'm about to share out.
All right. A lot of people in EU, okay.
Desktop one.
Wish you waited for me. Yeah, you guys can always reach out to me in chat, like DM me directly if you're, if you're super confident in your analysis, obviously that's the best way. But, if you do have some doubts and you want second set of eyes checking out your analysis, send it over. Absolutely.
Cool. So let's start with GU. Let's bump up. We'll go over where I entered on this. Let's start all the way up on the weekly time frame. So as always, we're going to do top-down analysis. We're going to look at the weekly structure. We broke this low right here, formed this lower low, had this retest. This lower low formed right here. And then price came back, retested this low, and then we were pretty much just within this area. You know, I was thinking a few things down on the daily time frame. This was a break of structure right here. Then we came up, we were testing this monthly level, a lot of rejection coming off that level last week. So I bumped down, you know, down to the daily time frame, started to take a look what's going on in the daily time frame. You know, I noticed obviously a huge fall off last week. You know, a little bit of a failed engulfing right here, and then I just started to bump down. What were my confirmations on this time frame before I went down? I was looking 200-day moving average, resistance right here. You know, those were the main two that I was looking at, and then obviously these candlesticks. You know, just this bearish engulfing, or whatever you want to call it, bearish variation. Then as I go down to the 1 hour, you know, this is where I started to just look at structure. As I look left, pretty much I was looking at this high or low, this high or low. And as you can see, I have marked off this line right here. So this high or low, retested this high or low, and then we had the break. You know, this was an entry we took advantage of last week. And then now, hold on. And then now this week, basically what happened was we came back all the way up to retest this level, retest this support turn resistance, and then we double topped right here, bearish engulfing right there. That's what the entry was on. So this was a fairly aggressive entry, but it did line up with how I normally take entries. Moving averages crossed, you know, bearish engulfing, retest or lower high forming. Then we just had stops right outside above this level. And this week was very choppy. You know, we were just maintaining this the whole week. You know, we had gone over this trade. You know, why didn't I get out of this during the week was because once we got up about 1-to-1, so once we reached this point, I put stops to entry. And at that point, I was just waiting, you know, for this move to play out. If it came back up and hit entry, then, you know, it's whatever. That's just based how I maintain my orders. And, you know, obviously we started to get into a little bit more profit here, you know, about 1.3. This is when I moved stops to around this area above this lower high that had formed right there. And then, you know, we just continued to maintain this all the way down. I just closed this order right around here. I closed the order. So definitely played out, you know, pretty nicely. Where would have been entries to sort of scale in, you know, later this week? Yesterday, I didn't have an opportunity to scale in at all because I got food poisoning and like literally couldn't move all day. But if you were looking at this and said, where could I have entered? You know, I would have entered in candlesticks like that. So this variation through the moving averages right there. And you're waiting for pullbacks. You're not trying to enter at these lows. So I would have entered somewhere like here. You know, this is making another lower high. And then I would have entered somewhere like right here as well. So then you could put stops. You know, this entry, you put stops right above this level. You know, this entry, put stops right above this level. This entry, put stops right above this level, right above the 200-day. Those would have all been good entries to take, you know, high probability, just to continue to maintain this 30-minute trend. You know, as always, 30-minute structure, we're looking at it from starting right here. You know, this broke, then we were waiting. You know, what I had put out early in the week in the analyses, you know, I believe I had put out GU really early in the week right here. So this is where I dropped this in premium analysis. You guys in signals or in the course obviously can see this. This is what we were waiting for. You know, look familiar. We were waiting for that pullback. You know, we didn't get a pullback all the way up to this level, which is fine, but we still need to wait for that first lower high. You know, I wouldn't enter on something like this just because of the wick. You know, the wick would have told me that there's a lot of like buyers coming in and this is probably going to pull back again. But I could have entered on, like I said, here. You know, I could have entered here, could have entered here. Those would have all been valid entry opportunities because these are all forming lower highs in the sense that momentum shifts and then sellers step in, momentum shifts, sellers step in. You know, we want to keep going with the momentum. So this is GU. You know, obviously I closed this trade, so I'm just going to clean this up. We got to look, you know, what is the next potential opportunity for this? We can bump back up to the daily time frame. You know, on the daily time frame at this point, we're coming back into like this level of support right here that was formed. We had resistance all along this area, support here, and then a lot of indecision all along this area. So we got to see how price really reacts right there. I am going to stick to this 1 hour time frame. So I'm going to stay on this 1 hour time frame. I'm going to try to continue with this 1 hour structure. As you can see, with our forecasted idea, I can get rid of this one. We're looking for one of two scenarios, either break, retest, entry, or break, retest, entry. Obviously have the break, retest, entry, going short. So we are looking to continue to head lower with this. I'm just going to update on this 1 hour time frame. I need a pullback. I need a pullback to another lower high now. So pretty much we're just going to wait on this 1 hour time frame now. If I were to bring my fibs on right here, we're obviously breaking 0% now, and heading lower. I'm just going to take these off. So we need some sort of pullback before getting in on any sort of entries. Probably going to have to wait till next week or something like this. This thing could continue to fall, right now, which is pretty crazy. Like Nick was showing with DXY, DXY, we've been talking about DXY coming back for, since last week. Is we fell down to retest these lows, and now it looks like we're about to come back, very similar to a lot of these plays when we retest this 200-day. This thing has bounced back 1, 2, 3, 4, now 5 times potentially. And then down to the daily, we're getting a lot of, reversal candles up in this area, this bullish engulfing, then the spinning top, so we're getting some reversal candles down to the 1 hour time frame, broke structure all the way down here. This was like a minor break right here, and then more majorly, we started to break structure pretty much right here. We made this high, made this higher low. Now we need to come back up and make this new high right there. So we will see if DXY continues to climb up. With that in mind, let's go over to UCAD. So let's hit UCAD, go up to the weekly time frame. The weekly time frame had been at this high, then we took shorts down to this low. Now we're kind of looking to, overall this weekly trend is bullish. This monthly trend is bullish, in the sense that we've been forming highs, higher low. Now this high, this is bullish. Down to the daily time frame. Daily time frame is bearish, guys. Daily time frame is bearish. In the sense that we broke these lows. We broke these higher lows that had formed all these lower highs. So daily time frame is definitely bearish. We just hit, I marked this level on the weekly. I marked this level based on resistance, some support here. Obviously we came into that, a lot of orders. All this level tells me is that previously a lot of orders were placed in this area to continue to drive the market down. And that's exactly what happened when price came back into this level. Is we grabbed a ton of orders. Look how we surged out to the upside. If we come down to the 1 hour right now, or even the 4 hour. So the 4 hour, again, we're just looking at structure. The 4 hour is still bearish in the sense that we formed this low, we pulled back right now, formed this lower high, moving average is crossed right here. So I marked this, talked about this yesterday. In order for us to get long on this pair, we need to, and to go with a weekly and a monthly, overall structure, we need to break above this level. This 4 hour just showed us, or just formed some nice structure for us. So we need to break above this level, retest, entry. At the moment, considering the 4 hour is still bearish, if I wanted to be aggressive and, look for some short opportunities. Yesterday we talked about this was like a descending triangle, obviously, and now it is invalidated. So I'm going to take this off. We needed that break below. If I'm going to short this pair right now, I need to break below this. I need to break below this lower line right here. This is kind of short term. If we do break below this, come down, break below, and do a little bit of a retest in the sense that we form another lower high, then, we could short. So forecasting ideas, in both directions. And then we're just going to make, we're just going to take entries based on price action. We're just taking entries based on what we see, guys. It's not that complicated. You know, if the 4-hour shows us that we break this level, we'll continue with that weekly trend, that monthly trend. And if the 30-minute manages to break structure, then we'll, you know, head lower with this. We'll target all the way down to this level. So that's UCAD. Let's head over to USEF. Let's hit on the weekly time frame. Weekly time frame has been bearish in the sense that we broke this low, formed this lower low, retested, you know, formed this lower high all up in this area. We had bearish engulfing here, bearish engulfing here, bearish engulfing here. And then last week closed, a lot of exhaustion off of this weekly level of support, you know, which is major. And now we can continue to go down, you know, to the daily time frame. Daily time frame has been bearish. You know, weekly's bearish, daily time frame's bearish. You know, we have our fibs on here, retested, form this lower high here, form this lower high here, form this lower high here. Then we broke below this level. You know, this is like a 4-hour trend. So we want to just continue to go down in time frames until we see structure as clearly as possible. Down to this 4-hour now, you know, down to this 4-hour time frame. What am I looking at? Earlier this week, we marked this level, you know, potential retest. We didn't take that off. That's what happened. We rejected that, fell lower. Let's look at, you know, what denotes lower highs or lower lows and lower highs. We have this low here, moving average cross, moving averages crosses back. So this is a lower high. Boom, pull back, you know, minor level of structure, fell below. Let's see. Closely. Thank you, bro. Revival. You guys think a 3 MA cross reliable strategy? I use these 2 MAs. These are, for me, this is like my whole strategy is using these moving averages. GA, any pending orders I missed? What's up, Wonga? I can't hear what's going on. Yeah, I would just check out, see if your connection's messed up. So yeah, back to this, you know, lower highs. Came down here, lower low, pulled back, moving averages cross. That all this tells me is momentum shifts, the buyers step in, you know, in an overall selling market, and then sellers at this point come in enough and the momentum changes. So that's a lower high, lower low. Again, moving average cross, lower high, made this low, moving averages cross. Now, you know, we are waiting to see if we can form that next lower high. We are still maintaining this bullish momentum here. You know, could we, and we're coming off this weekly level of support, this weekly key level. You know, for you guys that have been on these live sessions, you know that I, you know, mark these weekly key levels, these monthly key levels, and that's what I am really basing my analysis around, you know, when price is near these levels. And that's where we're at right now. We need to, in order to head lower, we need to clearly break, you know, we need to clearly break lower on this. Kind of going in line though with USD, with DXY being more bullish. You know, we need to just wait because this thing could pop up a little bit more, which is completely fine at the moment. You know, if this level breaks, for me, that isn't a break of structure right here. And obviously I go over more of this based on like what my whole entire strategy is and everything inside of the course. But if this level breaks for me, this is not a break of structure. You know, this is just continuing to retrace. If I were to put on my fibs, you know, from this level, you know, I'm seeing that we could potentially pop up here, retest this level, head lower. We could even come all the way up to the 78.6 level, then head lower. So I'm just going to be patient on this. USEF, I'm going to put this back up to red. Red means that I'm waiting on a higher time frame. So I'm going to do that for UCAD 2, and then GU, I'm also going to wait. This one, I'm going to stay on the 1 hour. Boom. So I'll be on the 1 hour time frame for GU. So I'm going to put that. This is just my watch list, guys. You know, every day, these are the only pairs that I trade. I very rarely trade UJ. I trade mainly USEF and GU, and then UCAD and NU if I see things very clearly. So let's go over to NU up on the weekly time frame. I'm expecting this thing to fall out like crazy, like to go along with all this USD momentum. Weekly time frame bearish. We're up at a confluence area, trend line, resistance, form this spinning top. That's a reversal candle. Daily time frame bearish engulfing right here. You know, weak pullback right now. We're sitting above this monthly level. We got to get below this, guys. We got to get below this. You know, for entries, 1 hour, 1 hour time frame, I am looking left. You know, we have this high or low here, have this high, higher low, high, higher low, this higher low, like lower high started to form, then we broke. This is where I just focus on this area. We broke, formed this lower high, had a little bit of a fake out here, guys. So that's why I've been waiting on the sidelines with this pair, is because we had this fake out where this level had broken, and then we dumped back through. And we had actually taken an entry here in the signals. It got stopped out by, I believe, like 2 pips, you know, from this little surge upwards, which was unfortunate, but that's okay. And now we're back, you know, looking for sells. What do I need to happen? Considering this formed this higher high, now we form this higher low, we need to break below this red zone. I marked this yesterday. We need to break below this red zone right here. As soon as this breaks, guys, like we're going to enter. As soon as this breaks, I'm going to enter. I'll put my stops above this level. You know, so this one's high on my watch list right now. NU, getting ready for NU. So let's go to UJ. And, you know, we could talk about UJ yesterday. Played out perfectly with the analysis. You know, let's go over to the daily time frame. Not sure if I dropped UJ in the, yeah, I did. So this was the analysis yesterday, you know, in the premium analysis. And again, for everyone that's in the signals and is in the course, you know, the signals is meant to teach you guys, you know, what we're doing. So we're building up to the trade. So I dropped this analysis in premium analysis. You know what I'm saying? This is only for members. And this is like what I'm waiting for. This is my forecasted idea. Break lower, retest, you know, enter. UJ, you know, what happened? I believe we were on the 1 hour time frame because I don't go below the 1 hour on UJ. You know, what happened? We had break lower, retest. Honestly, the UJ, you know, potential entry right now with UJ. The only reason why I might be hesitant is because we're so close to this weekly level. But let's just review this all the way from the top. You know, weekly time frame, bearish in the sense that we broke this low, pulled back, made this lower high, retested this low, pulled back. Huge bearish engulfing last week. We're below the 200-day moving average. You know, overall, we are just descending. Daily time frame, like we went over last week, structure, lower high here, lower high right here, retested that lower high right there. We were looking at that last week, and then moving averages crossed. We were looking to get short, you know, but this is a level that has held multiple times. We are looking to get through that. You know, that's when I bumped down to the 1 hour. 1 hour time frame, you know, had this huge daily bearish engulfing on obviously the daily. You know, we broke. That was a breaker structure on the 1 hour. We were waiting for that first pullback, you know, to enter. Really, the first entry on this was right here. This was the first entry. That would have been fire. I didn't take this, but this would have been the first entry. Right here, we could have put stops like right above this level up here. And why would I have entered there? Why would I have entered here? Because I'm waiting for that first lower high, guys. This pulls back, momentum's bullish. All of a sudden, we get these 2 bearish candles, moving averages cross. Momentum changes. Momentum shifts. We want to get in when momentum shifts. You know, that would have been a nice entry. And then again, we pull back. We had to respect this. This is a lower high. That's why stops are above this level. You know what I'm saying? That's why stops are above here, because this now forms a lower high that if broken, structure changes. As you can see, this was respected. You know, here it was respected. Then we had another entry opportunity right here. Another entry opportunity right there. Pull back here. Another entry opportunity right there. And then obviously now we're just heading lower. Let's mark this. So say we would have taken advantage of like this entry opportunity, you know, put stops above this area. Right now we would be up, you know, we would have been up over 1 to 1. We could have moved our stops to break even at this point. So I do consider this trade. I do think this trade is going to continue running. If you guys want to enter on this, you know, put stops above this level, 36 pips. And then what are you going to target? You know, at first you're going to target this weekly level of support right here. You know, we'll be able to go risk free at that point. And then after that, we are going to be able to head lower. So those are all the pairs that I have for you guys today that I went over. Let me unmute Nick. We'll get Nick back in here. So get Nick back in here. So this is, another live trading session. I just went over NU, GU, UCAD, USEF, and UJ. Much like yesterday, I'm going to drop this premium analysis in the chat for the members. So potential trades coming up. If anything executes today, we're still comfortable trading on Thursdays. We try not to trade on Fridays, at least towards we don't try to hold over the weekend. It just doesn't make any sense for our strategy for what we're doing. So yeah, obviously we appreciate all you guys coming on. Right now we do have this little sale going on. 10 spots only, $2.99, 40% off, lifetime membership. So you guys are going to get the signals. You're going to get the premium analysis. These live sessions, obviously the full course, fundamental
one-on-one support.
Yeah, everything. One-on-ones, live webinars, everything. So if you guys are interested in this, just shoot us a message after this call if you guys want to get started. If you're a beginner, intermediate, whatever level you're at, me and Nick, we both have a ton of experience. Nick's been trading for 5 or 6 years.
6 years now, I think. 6 years and
I've been trading about
May. 6 years in May.
Yeah, I've been trading about 2.5 years. So if you guys want to, get, obviously join Forex League, you guys want to join the team. If you guys want to get better, if you guys want to get more confident, then take advantage of the sale. 40% off, only 10 spots. There's 9 spots left now. So yeah, if you guys want in on that, just shoot me a message after this call. We're going to have our next session on Sunday. So, these sessions happen Sunday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. They're completely free. So next session will be on Sunday for you guys. And as always, we're going to post all of our analysis for next week in the chat. Much like we did last week, we'll post all of our analysis. You guys can come in here. What I would do if I was you guys, you should come in here at the end of the week. Thanks, Duran. You should come in here at the end of the week. Look at our analysis, see how things are playing out, based on how we forecasted our ideas. And yeah, there's just more than enough value, to benefit you guys in here. And, we're happy to be here to help.
Absolutely. Yeah, guys. So, make sure if you're not in Discord, or if you came in from Telegram or Discord or wherever you're from, make sure you're just in these free resources. And, you guys are definitely getting the most out of it. There's a lot of value here. And, we're happy to have you guys.
Okay. All right. So we'll see you guys in the next session. Again, if you have any questions, just shoot us a DM and we'll talk to you guys soon.
Have a good one, guys. Enjoy the rest of the week.
Peace.